Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about arrays. Alright? So, you know how to create a variable. Right? So, let me quickly create a string and name it as fname and store the value Ravi in it. Alright? So, to print it out, I have to say system dot out dot println and I have to say fname and end it with a semicolon. Okay. So now when I run it, I get Ravi as output. Now this here is a single value which is stored in a variable. Correct? Now what if I want to store multiple values inside a single variable? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. So let me check to make sure. So Ravi is one value and I want to save Ram as second value. Okay. So now when I run it, I get an error. Alright. So I cannot store these two values inside this variable. So it is not possible. So this is when arrays come into the picture. Inside an array, you can store as many values as you want. Or in other words, you can store multiple values inside a single variable. And that variable would be called as an array. Okay. So now, let us create an array of string. To create an array, you have to make some modifications to this. First is, soon after the data type, you have to open and close square brackets. Okay, so you need to have this after the data type. So this is to say that we are creating an array of strings. Okay, so next is the name of the array. So this is fname. So fname would be the name of the array, and then the values that will be stored inside the array. Okay, so I have two names here. So let me quickly add one more, or let me add two more. Okay, Mahesh. Okay, so these four are the values that will be stored in this array. Okay, the values of an array are called as elements. So we do not say values now. We call these as elements of the array fname. Now, this is not enough. Okay, this is not complete. The elements of an array should be inside curly brackets. So opening and closing. Okay. So inside curly brackets should be the values or elements of the array. So now it is fine. Okay. So after data type, opening and closing square brackets and the elements of the array inside curly brackets. Alright. So this is an array of 4 elements. Okay. Now we cannot print the elements of array like this. So we cannot directly use println and fname. So if we run it, we'll get an error. Okay, we'll get some unwanted result. To access the elements of an array, we need to use something called as index number. Okay, the index number starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay. So it starts from 0. So the first element of an array will have index number 0. Second element of an array will have index number 1. Third element will have index number 2 and so on. Okay. So if you want to access this element which is in second position in this array, you have to say fname and inside square brackets 1. Okay, inside square bracket 1. So why 1? Let me tell you. So when I run it, I get RAM. 1 because 1 is the index number of this element. So 0 is the index number of this, 1 is for this, 2 is for this, 3 is for this. Okay. So if I want to access RAM, I need to use 1. If I want to access Ravi, this would be 0. Okay. So let me run it to get Ravi as output. Okay. Ravi as output. Now 0, 1, 2, 3. So what happens if I have 4 here? So let me do that. 4 and run, and I get an error. Okay. I get an error saying index out of bounds. Alright. So we only have 4 elements, meaning only index number from 0 to 3 are available. Okay. So anything above 3 would be out of range. Alright. So that is why this is giving us an error. Okay. Now, to check how many elements are there in an array, we use length property. Okay, we use length property. So let me remove this. So it would be system.out.println fname dot length. Okay, fname dot length. So now let me run it to get 4, meaning there are 4 elements in an array. Okay. So here let me have David, and now let me run it to get 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 elements in this array. So this length property gets you the total number of elements in an array. Okay. So array is used to store multiple values. Okay. So I hope you have understood. Now we can change the element of an array. So let us do that. So let me have fname and inside brackets 1. Okay. So system.print 1. So now I would be getting RAM as the output because RAM is in index number 1 position. Okay. Now let me change it. So how do we change it? By saying fname, okay, fname, and inside square brackets, the index number of the element that you want to change. So I want to change RAM, correct? So I'll say RAM. I'll say 1, okay, because it is in index position 1. Now, what do I want to change it to? I want to change it to Asha. Alright, I want to change it to Asha. So Asha should be in quotes. Alright, yes. So now let me check. Let me copy this once again. Let me copy this and let me check the result. So you can see I have Ram and Asha. So before changing, when I accessed the element in first index position, I got Ram, and after changing it, when I accessed the element in position 1, I got Asha. Okay, that means I have replaced Ram with Asha. So using index numbers, you can replace the elements like this. Okay, yes. Now this is about string. So if you have strings inside an array, you need to use double quotes. If you have numbers, integers or any double values, then you don't have to use quotes. Okay, so let us check that. So let me delete this, and let me delete this too. All right. So now let me create an array of integers. So int, open and close square brackets, and let me say age. Okay, I'm creating an array of age. So age is equal to, and inside curly brackets, I'll say 21, 34, 54, 22, 22, 34 and 76. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have 7 ages inside, or 7 elements inside this array. Okay, inside this array. So let me close this. All right. So now let me access the value that is at position 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I should be getting 22 f name. Sorry, it is not f name, it is age. All right. I should be getting 22 as result. Okay, 22 as result. All right. So now you don't have to use quotes. Now we can access individual elements like this. But what if we want to print out each element one after the other? So I want to print out 21, and in next line 34, next line 54, next line 22, next line 22, next 34, and next 76. So how can we do that? To do that, we need to use for loop. Okay, for loop. So let me show you how it works. So let me delete this. So I'll say for. Okay, I'll say for, and inside brackets, I is equal to 0. I'll tell you what it is later. I'll write the codes now. I equal to 0, and I'll say I less than 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'll say I less than 7. All right, I less than 7, and then I'll say I plus plus. Okay, I plus plus. Then I'll open this, and I'll say system dot out dot print ln, and inside I'll say age and I. Okay, so now let me run it. For I equal to 0, variable I, for int I equal to 0. Okay, so I had forgotten to mention the data type, so it had given me this error. So now you can see all the elements of the array is printed out. Okay, one after the other. Now let us see what is happening here. For, okay, we are using for loop. I equal to 0. What is this I? This is a variable which stores value which corresponds to index. So we are saying start from index 0. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, correct? We want to access all the values one after the other. So this 0 is nothing but index value. So first we say I equal to 0. First value, for first value I equal to 0. Okay. Then it checks whether I is less than 7. So 0 is less than 7. Correct. So it prints out this. What is this? Age, which is the name of the array, and I. What is I for first iteration? It is 0. So age 0. So what is in 0th index position of age array? 21. So 21 will be printed out. Okay. Next I plus plus will be done. So this will be 1. This will be 1. So it checks whether I is less than 7. 1 is less than 7. So this is true, and so this will be printed out. In the second iteration, age and 1 will be here. So 1, what does 1 mean? Index number 1. So 34. So 34 will be printed out. Next I plus plus will be done. I becomes 2, and it progresses in the same way till I value becomes 7. Okay, so when I value becomes 7, I less than 7 is, or 7 less than 7 is not true, and so the for loop ends. Okay, for loop ends. Alright, so this is how you access each elements one after the other. Alright, now this for loop is not efficient, because see, now if I have one more value 32, okay, if I have one more value, and if I run it, I get values only till 76. This is skipped out, correct? So if I add an element here, I need to change here too, so I need to make this 8, correct? Now let me remove this. Let me have let me remove 76 too. So when I run it, I get an error. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements here. I am saying I less than 7, so it runs till 6, but there is no sixth element here, or sixth index position element here, so it gives me an error. Alright, so when I change elements inside an array, I need to change this too. But can we do something to this for loop so that no matter what change we do to this array, this works perfectly? Okay, so it should not matter whether you add elements to the array or you remove elements from the array. The code should run properly. That means it should get all the elements in the output, and it should not give us any error too if the number of elements are less. Can we do something like that? Yes, we can do something like that, and that is by removing this and saying age dot length. Okay, age dot length. So we have learned how to use length property, correct? We have learned how to use length property. So when we say age dot length, I value, it will be less than, or until it is less than until I is less than age dot length. This will work perfectly, and this will work every single time. It doesn't matter if you add or remove elements. Okay, so now let me run it, and you can see I have all the elements here. So let me remove this and let me run it, and I have result here, correct? So it doesn't matter whether you add or remove elements. So let me add 11, 34, 98, 86, 87, 45. Okay, so I have many elements here. Still, when I run it, I get all the elements in the output. Okay, so I less than age dot length can be used to get a perfect result. Okay, now proceeding further, what I want to do is I want to get the result backward. Okay, I want to start iteration from this and go till here. Okay, so I want 45 first, 87 next, 54 next, 98 next, and 21 last. So what change can we do to this to iterate backwards? What do you think? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10. So 10 are there, correct? 10 or 11 elements are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 elements are there. So I should be 10. Okay, so I should be 10 first. Alright, next I should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, I should be greater than or equal to 0. And I should be minus minus here. Okay, minus here. So now when we run it, we get from 45 till 21. So we are starting from index 10. Okay, index 10. And we are reducing 1 after every loop. Okay, after every loop. Alright, so I hope it is clear. Now, I want you to make a change to this. I want you to make a change to this so that this will run perfectly. This will run perfectly even though you add or remove elements from the array. Okay, so let me have 34 and 65 here. So let me run it and I get this. I get from 45 itself, correct? I get from 45 itself. But if I remove this many, okay, if I remove this many and run it, I get an error. So I should not get this error. No matter how many elements I add or delete, I should get all the results here. So what change can be done to this program? So think about this. Okay, take this as an exercise. Alright. So I'll show you the answer in the next video and we will continue the topic from there. Alright. So that's it for this video. Go ahead and practice the things that we have learnt in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and thank you for watching.